everyone. Today on Stocks to Watch, we're highlighting Mandalay Resources, a gold and antimony producer with operations in Australia and Sweden. The company is listed on the TSX as MND and the OTCQB as MNDJF in the US. This is a company that has very recently merged with Alkane Resources, listed on the Australian exchange as ALK. This is a strategic move to create a stronger, more diversified mid-tier mining company. Very exciting news. And joining us to talk all about it is Frazer Bourchier, President, Chief Executive Officer, and Director. So Frazer's going to walk us through the thinking behind the deal and what it means for investors. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Frazer.
Thanks very much for having me, Ashley. I appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. And I did have the distinct pleasure of meeting some of your team at the Commodities Global Expo and the Natural Resource Stocks Expo back in May. So that was a true pleasure. And a lot has happened since then. So let's get right to it. What makes this merger between Alkane and Mandalay strategically compelling, would you say, for both companies and their shareholders? Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Look, I mean, even in the short term, this is a fantastic, what I would call short-term value trade, as well as a long-term value play. I mean, this really, while we trade as Mandalay shares, you can pick them up tomorrow. By the time this deal closes, probably next Tuesday, Wednesday, those shares will automatically just switch to Alkane shares at the agreed ratio. But the most compelling things, as we've stated before, it's a strengthened, strong platform upon which we can build further growth. We've got 3 cash-generating assets now, 1 in Sweden, 2 in Australia, premier mining jurisdictions, historically recognized mining jurisdictions. They're each supported by robust growth opportunities. You know, we'll have probably 160,000 ounces equivalent of gold producing in the first year, up to 180,000 in the following year. So pretty sizable pro forma cash. You know, when this deal closes next week, will be 218 million Australian, about 150 million US. And that'll grow. I mean, net even after transactions will be about 150 million Australian, just under 100 million US. So it really positions the company well for further growth. We get enhanced scale, we get much better trading liquidity, we get indices qualifications now that are expected to support a valuation re-rate of significance. So, and really finally, you know, the combination was done at a no premium on close on the 5-day VWAP as of announcement now 3 months ago. So at market, which was great because it was all script, conserved cash, and this allows us for prudent, capital allocation with healthy returns and further growth going forward.
Yeah, listen, it sounds like a fantastic duopoly, I would call it. And I like how you talked about, the prime location in Sweden. I had been to Sweden. I met many companies in that space. And I think that what you're doing strategically is just so sound. So let's, kind of expand a little bit on that and talk about the new combined company. How will it be stronger, specifically operationally and, of course, financially? You talked about the numbers in the gold and antimony space.
Look, so a couple of quick things. I mean, Sweden is the largest or second largest, whether you want to say between Sweden and Spain, historical mine producer in Europe. And a lot of people may not realize that. There's a lot of history there, gold, iron ore, zinc, quite prolific. And of course, the mines in Australia, I mean, where the Mandalay asset is in the Bendigo-Ballarat belt. That's what essentially built the city of Melbourne. It goes back 150 years. So great jurisdictions, what I would call premier mining, history-rich jurisdictions in Australia and Sweden, operating history and rule of law. So in today's world, that's a big plus operationally. The executive leadership overseeing the mines, and for each of those 3 operating mines, and we have a large copper gold project as well, have at least 10 years history with each of the mines. So a lot of continuity. This isn't something new starting out or a build that's starting up. And then the opportunity, with the operations now that we have 3 operating mines, Operationally, we can, what I would call interskills, mixing, training, synergies, two of them being in Australia, one in the state of New South Wales, one in the state of Victoria, and the other in Sweden. So that gives us much more diversity and flexibility with a larger company. Financially correct, as I stated, 200 million in cash, net cash positive, probably I'll call Australian 150 million. I use the Australian term. Well,
Sure.
dual listed both Australian Toronto, but they use Australian denomination. We Mandalay have historically used US. But even if you clean up all of Alkane's Macquarie debt, you're sitting here with pristine balance sheet after transaction costs, cleaning up the debt if the pro forma board decides to do that with 150 million in cash. And Mandalay's revolver remains clean too. So I step back and I go, year number one, 160,000 ounces. And year number 280, say $3,300 an ounce US gold. That means in year one, including the current pro forma hedge, because Alkane does come along with a hedge, which combined will be about 16, 17% of the produced gold pro forma, we would still have revenue that would be about 650 to 700 million Australian, maybe 200 to 250 million cash flow from operations. And in the second year, that would probably grow to about 350 million cash from operations. So Australian. So, based on the current mathematical market cap of each company as of yesterday's closing price, the market cap combined simplistically is about 830 million Australian. I mean, that's a cash flow multiple of 2 to 2.5 times. That's a pretty low number. I mean, I think those familiar with that metric,
Yeah.
we still see significant room to grow.
Yeah, it's really very, very impressive. And I like how you use the analogy or whatever you call it about keeping the revolver clean. So let's talk about what steps are being taken to make sure the transition, because we are very, very close, goes smoothly as your companies come together.
So first of all, there's the executive continuity. My chief operating officer and my vice president of exploration for Mandalay, they have incredible institutional knowledge, and they'll be joining the Alkane executive. Number two, the Mandalay board, 3 members, our current chair, Brad Mills, myself, and my predecessor CEO, Dominic Duffy. So Brad, Dominic, and myself, Fraser, 3 former CEOs. So we have intimate knowledge of the Mandalay assets. We'll be on that board supporting Nick Erner, who will be the executive going forward, based in Perth in Australia. And he's an very experienced MD and CEO. Then board meetings. I believe we're going to have a board meeting 2 or 3 days after the close on August 7th or 8th, and to assess budget, capital allocation. We have 4 meetings already planned in the next 2 months, one of them in person, even though we're spread between our new independent chair, Andy Quinn, former member of on the Barrick board. He's resigned from Barrick to join us. The 3 of us here between New York and Toronto and Australia, we'll all get together in Sweden. And that really, will be to further assess growth strategy and capital allocation, which we'll share imminently. And then the last few things, we have a few executives, in addition, separate from the COO and VP of Exploration for Mandalay, who will also stay on part-time, sort of shorter-term agreements to help with the integration. Both companies historically have run very mine site focused, empowered business models through the general manager. So we have pretty lean head offices. So it's not like there's a whole concern with 2 offices. How do they come together? And it helps that there's no new countries introduced here. I mean, Mandalay has experience in both Australia and Sweden. So the fact that we merged with another company that's also in Australia, even if a different state, New South Wales versus Victoria, I think that bodes well for the integration and the path forward.
Yeah, what also bodes well, I would say, is the leadership and you at the helm and the transparency here. Letting investors, potential investors know, hey, these are all the meetings we're having. This is what we're gearing up to do. So I think that that's very impressive. And speaking, of investors, potential investors, maybe those just learning about Mandalay, maybe they already know about Alkane. Now they're learning about this merger. What would you say they should keep an eye on in the coming months, and why should they invest in your company?
Look, so first of all, on the very short term, I think the final court order of approval, in fact, I was just today signing the affidavit, will come through on Friday, August the 1st, close on or about August 5th or 6th. And then later in August, like a few weeks later, 2, 3 weeks later, after our first board meeting, there'll be a release of the quarterlies from Alkane for those that might not be as familiar. That being said, we did file the circular on CDAR a little while ago that has all the NI 43-101 equivalent translations of the Alkane assets because they report to JORC, not 43-101. We, of course, have ours on our website. So they're all filed. Quarterlies will come out, the June 30 quarterlies for Alkane, like I say, in 3 weeks. We'll probably addendum onto those our June 30 quarterlies, even though we don't need to put those quarterlies in as the deal will close before that requirement. The new pro forma board will align and they'll share their forward-looking guidance imminently, no doubt, under our chair, Andy Quinn, along with the growth strategy, including capital allocation in the coming months. We will continue to give exploration updates. Some of your viewers may have seen. I mean, we have exciting stuff going on, especially at Costerfield between True Blue. This morning, we just put one out on what we call Brunswick South, which is a lot of hard work, but a pleasant surprise on a whole new zone we found just offset close from our working operations and Sub KC. So that's organic exploration. And at Björkdal, we'll give updates on Eastern Extension, what we call North Zone and Story. So great there. And then at Tomingley, the third operation, we'll give exploration updates at Roswell. So keep an eye out for that. And then in September, we'll have the JDXJ rebalancing. So Alkane's already part of it, but now that we're bigger, there'll be a rebalance based on a market cap that's double the size. And there'll also be an assessment that we've been given 95% confidence it's most likely to happen now on the ASX 300 inclusion. So that's another index. So a rebalance on JDXJ, inclusion on AX 300. We've heard anywhere from 30 to 60 million follow-on buying that's just automated. It comes in that once you're index listed with a fixed share count. So that'll drive price. And then along with the updated pro forma marketing that Nick Erner will do at conferences like yours or Beaver Creek, Diggers and Dealers in Australia, Denver Gold, as well as 101. So I think all that news, there'll be a fair bit flowing over the next couple of months. But like I say, in summary, there's a great even short-term opportunity here. I mean, we had I think, projection of $6, $6.50 just before we announced this deal, and we dropped all the way to $4.40, but about a week ago because there were ARBs and other ones kind of playing the stock. It has started to rebound. It's just up north of 5 this morning, but there's a short-term opportunity, but there's essentially, and most excitingly, a long-term opportunity as we continue this growth journey.
Well, certainly it sounds like there are many milestones in the very near future in your pipeline poised for scale, efficiency, and of course, long-term value as well. So Frazer Bourchier, thank you so much for joining us, President, Chief Executive Officer, and Director of Mandalay Resources. And for investors, this is not just a transaction. It's a signal of ambition in a really tightening resource market. So keep your eye, as Frazer said, on how this deal unfolds ahead. Thank you so much again for your time and joining us here on Stocks to Watch.
Thanks, Ashley.